Hey everybody, welcome to Contest Prep University. I'm Joe Klemczewski with Adam Atkinson. We're going to talk about the psychological demands of contest prep. And Adam, I know we touch upon these things quite a bit just through and through almost every subject that we cover, but I think this is going to be something that really hones in on some of the things that people don't really realize as they're heading in. The first one being time and focus. And you and I both competed, for decades. And I've always maintained that there were some preps that were just easy and I was so motivated and it just seemed fun every day. And then there are other ones where it was so just awful. I almost, probably should have pulled out of those. And most of the time that was because I just forgot that even if you think you've established some time allocation for this, it's just a 24/7 mind drain. It's always there. So, of course, you got to set up some time for cardio posing, things like that, reviewing records, thinking about it. But also, you have to be ready for that kind of intense focus that you just can't let go of. So, you have so much experience with clients at every level. I would love to hear how your clients really succeed best at this.
Yeah, I think some of the major time components too, even with general weight loss clients, are just preparing food, putting the time and energy into, when you're maybe feel stranded and you're out shopping and don't have a meal with you if you're not prepared. Going somewhere, taking the time to calculate the macros and it's just not complete life freedom. And this is where we see people really like come out prep and they're like, I want balance right away. And you're just not ready for balance yet. So you really do need to plan ahead. And that's some of the biggest things. If you can you don't have to do it all at once. So if you can almost set a timeline for yourself. So, as my clients, when they have longer preps with me, I tell them, go ahead and get your first posing session with a coach. You may not need a lot of posing, but if we see that you need a lot of help, you'll have more time to work on that. So some people maybe only need a good 10 weeks to pose, and some may need a weekly session all 20 weeks. So it really does depend. But I think one of the biggest things that I tell my clients is plan ahead. As much as we're big proponents of flexible dieting, you really want to plan ahead and make those adjustments as needed, and just have your food ready. So then it almost takes some of that psychological load off of you to say, oh, my food's ready. And then you're not anxious and worried about your next meal, because that steals your energy at the end of the day.
Yeah, as you're going through all of those organizational components, the task lists of things that have to get done, I was just reminded of how much of a general anxiety drain that can be. And I know in other areas of my life, if I'm just super busy, I've got way too much going on, you could just be laying in bed and you think you're relaxed. You think, great, I finally get to sleep, and your mind just can't shut off. And you're exactly right that if you can just take these things one at a time, you've already planned for them. So you've got that mental adjustment, then it really almost unknowingly, it's a subconscious thing where you just reduce your stress by simply being that prepared.
Yep, absolutely.
So you have we're getting at the time of this filming toward the end of the season, and you mentioned an awful lot of clients who are heading into final shows and so forth. As they're wrapping up and they've already got a lot of their pre-contest behind them, is there an additional measure of time and focus that kind of hits people toward the end of the season?
I think it's just the draining component of being in it for so long. And I couldn't think of a more perfect example. One of my clients posted that they were gaining PRs in the gym. And one of my clients who's deep in prep just chimed in and said, I can't wait for these days again. And you start wanting to go the opposite direction of what you're currently in. So you have to remind clients to find joy in where they're at. And when you're a top 3 national competitor, our goal maybe isn't to change your physique that much. It's 2 people graduated and went to the pro league, and we're hoping you're in that number 1 spot the next time without changing anything. And that's kind of boring to people, but what a great position to be in is you're technically ranked number 1 going into the show, but then of course based on who shows up. So, it's really important to just focus on where you're at in the journey and not really focus on looking forward to the other things. Maybe pre-plan, this is how I expect my reverse to go. Maybe focus on those big goals, so then you're not just gaining weight rapidly post show.
And that's why I wanted to include that term focus in with time, is because they both work together, pinging back and forth, that and either create or reduce that psychological stress overall. So thank you, Adam, and thank you guys for watching and listening. We'll see you next time in episode 2 in Contest Prep University.